How much of the world's kiddie porn goes through Gmail? How many Gmail accounts have been used to order plastic explosives? How many insurrections have been planned on Google?
On January 8th, Twitter deleted President Trump's account and also blocked the accounts of many of his supporters, including Lee Nude and Sidney Powell. The reason was that Trump sparked the riot at the January 6th demonstration. Twitter blocked the communication between Trump and his supporters almost to half of the population in the United States. That has resulted in many people leaving Twitter and Twitter's share prices falling sharply. But removing Trump happened again from the big tech. Instagram, Facebook blocked Trump's account indefinitely, and even Google and Apple App Store suspended Parler from their App Store. Google and Apple also claim the reason is that Parler did not take appropriate action in the Capitol incident. Parler is an alternative platform of Twitter and Facebook, as Twitter and Facebook are biased on the left and starting to quell claims made by some conservative users. However, January 11th, Amazon suspended Parler from its web hosting service this weekend. The website is threatened to continue this move indefinitely, possibly taking the website down completely after its user glorified the recent uprising in the US Capitol. They said that Parler violated its term of use due to its inadequate content moderation practices. Almost every social media have blocked or deleted Trump's account, and also big tech is helping. In connection with this, Tucker Carlson of Fox News interviewed a representative of Parler.
So this is coming from everywhere all of a sudden, and we're going to unpack what we know at this hour. But we do know that over the last 24 hours, Twitter specifically has banned a number of different conservative accounts, not just the president. At the same time, the Chinese Communist Party, the Ayatollah of Iran, still have their accounts because they're not a threat to the ruling party here. Tonight, a competing social media service, Parler, which we told you about, is seeing massive and unprecedented surge in traffic. The site even experienced server outage because of new users tonight. Why? A couple of reasons. Mostly this: Parler is a free speech alternative to Twitter. They don't censor you. You can say what you want. The president is on Parler, and that has drawn a lot of people who realize they are being suppressed by Twitter. Parler's succeeding. What happens now? Of course, Silicon Valley is trying to kill it. Google has just removed Parler without any warning from its App Store. Apple and Amazon, which provide services that keep services like Parler online, have also threatened to shut Parler down. Amy Peikoff is the Chief Policy Advisor at Parler, and she joins us tonight. Amy, thanks so much for coming on. This seemed to come out of nowhere. How big a threat to your company is this?
I mean, this is very huge because Apple in particular carries our app on the App Store, and as far as I know, technically there's no other way to deliver it. So if they choose to withdraw their services and hosting us on their store, we're toast. Amazon is also raising some problems, and I'm not sure how serious that is yet because I've yet to speak with them. I will later today. And they provide server for us, and if they were to remove their services, then we'd be down. As it is, we're having some difficulties now with the uptick in traffic, but if they took their service away, we'd be gone.
But
yes,
it's Parler.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
But it's Parler that is being singled out. I mean, it's kind of impossible not to conclude this is political repression.
It really, because I think we do have the reputation as being the conservative platform, although we are nonpartisan. That is what everybody sees us as. We do see this as being politically singled out. The other thing is that we are competing with other platforms who have decided that they want to surveil the people on their platform 24/7 without any particularized suspicion. And, on the one hand, people don't like to live in the world of Orwell's 1984. And then on the other hand, a lot of people seem to want to pressure social media to do more to moderate, as they call it, content on their platforms. But that would require 24-hour surveillance. And we don't think that that is consistent with the principles of America.
So just to be clear for our viewers who aren't familiar with your company and your app,
Sure.
You're just trying to provide a place for people to say what they think. You're not trying to put Amazon out of business or dethrone Apple or force anybody else's carrier to drop their service. You just want to be left alone and do your thing. Am I mischaracterizing that?
Yes, I mean, we would just like to provide a place where people can come and they can speak freely, that they're not going to be fact-checked, they're not going to be told what to think, what they can read, etc. And also, we do not data pillage. We don't data mine them. We don't turn them into commodities and try to monetize them. And so we would just like to provide that service. And of course, like everybody else, we were horrified by a lot of the incitement that was going on this week, and we are doing everything that we can within our principles to, deal appropriately with that content. And we work with law enforcement as well. But that content has been everywhere this week. This has been a very unusual week, and to be singled out, we think, is quite unfair.
Well, I mean, it's political repression, period. Now,
Definitely.
Google, when we asked why they did this, and they sent a relatively long statement, we're just going to read a snippet of it to you on the air. We're aware of continued posting in the Parler app that seeks to incite ongoing violence in the U.S. It continues. In light of this ongoing and urgent public safety threat, we're suspending the app's listings from the Play Store until it addresses these issues. Okay, so they're accusing you of inciting violence.
They are putting on us the responsibility for every piece of incitement that is posted there. And the nature of an open platform, a free and open town square, is that we do not take action on people until we are aware of a situation.
Right.
It's particularized suspicion. You do not
So let me just ask you really
surveil.
quick. I mean, how much of the world's kiddie porn goes through Gmail? How many Gmail accounts have been used to order plastic explosives? How many insurrections have been planned on Google? Like
Right.
a lot. And so,
Sure.
right? I mean, this is a completely arbitrary standard applied to you because they don't like the politics of the people who use your site.
I mean, that it's looking that way. I'm hoping it's not that way, but it's looking that way, and it's coming in sooner than I would have expected it.
In the meantime, this image is circulating on the internet. Breaking: conservative banned from owning pigeons in case they try to communicate with one another. It is meant sarcastically. Big Tech suppressed and banned of Republican communication channels, saying it would even stop pigeons, a potential alternative means of communication. In any case, these big tech's decisions are increasing the social conflict in the United States on an unprecedented scale. Then what did mainstream media outlets, Democratic leaders, including Kamala Harris, say about the BLM and Antifa movement, which has burned and looted numerous private property and buildings in the past few months?
I know that there are protests still happening in major cities across the United States. I'm just not seeing the reporting on it that I had
That's right.
for the first few weeks.
That's right. But they're not
now-
going to stop. They're not going to stop. And they're not, this is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not going to stop. And everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. They're not going to let up, and they should not. And we should not.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Is it possible to become a movement because someone belongs to a particular party? And is it an act of national rebellion because someone belongs to another party? The word freedom of expression itself has very vague limit. The same incident can be interpreted as national rebellion that encourages violence and causes social unrest. However, the same incident can also be interpreted as anger of citizens and legitimate rights against the legally corrupt public power. It is very ambiguous to determine the degree and scope of freedom of expression because everyone has different views and positions. But now the most basic right of freedom of expression seems to be losing its meaning little by little. What do you think of this video? Thanks for watching. Your comments and likes. Be safe.